let's get into our next discussion now. Perhaps the race to Nigeria's seat of power, Aso Rock, is the most competitive it has ever been in the history of the country.
Competitive. Well, at the last count, there are more than 40 aspirants who want to be president. Out of this number, those vying for the post under the opposition, that's the People's Democratic Party, are about 14. The impressive list of presidential aspirants, of course, contesting at the moment, well, and public office holders are even the youths. But do they have what it takes to become president? Well, let's now bring in a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Olayinka Daniels. He's here in the studios with us. Also in Abuja, we have a lawyer and senatorial aspirant. His name is Daniel as well, but the last name is Boala.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much indeed, gentlemen, for joining us at the moment. Let me start with you in Abuja, Daniel. Well, more than about 40 aspirants already running for president. Well, would you say we have more of them, it's better for us?
Well, thank you for having me, and thank viewers this morning. The very fact that we have more people indicating interest to run for office, and especially the highest office in the country, I think suggests that Nigerians are becoming more interested in taking part, in governance, which is a welcome development. Somebody might also argue that the reason we have more people showing interest might be because the people consider that the administration is not doing enough. So whichever way you put it, I think it's a good idea that people are turning. But whether that is going to be healthy going to 2019, having regard to logistics, INEC and all of that, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
All right, Daniel Boala, we'll come back to you. Let me bring in Olayinka Daniels here now. Look, we've heard some of the presidential aspirants say that, well, there's a lot of pressure. I am under a lot of pressure to run.
Answering to the call.
I'm answering to the call. It's not because I want to run, but the people wouldn't let me run. This boils down to the issue of interests and all of that. What really should be the ideal drive to become a president or to contest in this kind of situation?
Well, first, which I always tell who cares to listen, you must be a patriot first. When we say patriot, everything about Nigeria comes before you as an individual. Now, the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians comes to you first before your personal interest. But most of what we see around, with them coming to say, yes, there's pressure from some quarters that we should come out. True, be told, they are political jargons. It's for their own personal interest. I have not seen so far people that really have the heart of this country, in place that are really out to say, yes, it is for Nigeria and for Nigerians. Yes, it's a welcome development to have more aspirants coming forward. But then, over 40 aspirants, in the end, what do we have? We've been having this over time. And in the end, what do we still have? We continue the same line of actions. The question is, are we patriots? Is it about the country? The other time, some people came together to say, okay, let us have one candidate, and immediately they finished that. The next thing, other aspirant went to say, no, I'm not in for this. Meanwhile, he was in for it before the consensus came.
And you ask, if it had gone his way, will
he have said no? You see, that is the question we've been asking them. Are you really for us or for your personal interest? Everybody just want to be president. Everybody just want to enjoy all the dividends of presidency. But then the responsibilities that go with the office, are you ready to sacrifice all it takes to fix this nation.
All right, let's go back to Abuja now. Well, Daniel, let me ask, what exactly do you think we should be looking at for in these presidential aspirants?
Vision is number one, and then passion and patriotism is number two. But these two things I have mentioned cannot be determined just before the candidate express interest or as soon as they express interest. They have to be involved in the democratic engagement so that as they discuss issues, their ideals, and their programs for the country, and the fourth estate of the realm, in other words, you guys, the media, begin to question them, and in some cases, bring what they are saying as against what they did in the past, those who had the privilege of ruling in the past. Then we, the masses, are able to see and make our own deduction as to whether this candidate indeed has a vision, or this candidate is about popularity, or this candidate is about impression, or this candidate is actually out to be settled. So and it is constitutionally guaranteed for somebody to express interest and to vie for office. I welcome that idea. I know for a fact, and as time goes on, you will find out that there are individuals who have indicated interest and will end up knowing that it is ambition, self-aggrandizement, popularity, and all of these things that may have been the motivating factor. But let the engagement continue. Let's hear them, let's probe them, let's ask them questions, and then let those ones that are able to stand the test of time be the ones that we will vote, or elect as our president.
All right, Daniel Bwala, let me stay with you on this. Now, the issue, there has been a debate between the new generation and the older generation as to issues of the new generation saying that the older generation are the ones who have been there a long time, they are very corrupt, they are old and all of that. Then the older generation having the argument that the new generation don't have experience, they don't have the patience, they don't know the history and all of that. Now, this tends to clash and bring conflict amongst the two divides sometimes. What is the place of experience? Because the office of the president is not the same thing as the office of a governor and all of that. That's the highest office in the land. What does experience have to do with it?
First of all, the argument that the younger ones are not ready because they don't have experience, to me, is a lame argument. It's argument that is canvassed by people who think that leadership has more to do with age than with thinking. Leadership is all about thinking on your feet, creative ideas, ability to manage people and resources. And these things have no respect to age. You can find them domiciled in the mind of a 20-year-old boy, or you can find it in the mind of an 80-year-old man. Someone like me is not particularly moved about age, but I can tell you that there is a problem in Nigeria. There is no preparation for generational handover. There is a great dichotomy between the old and the new. Imagine places like Canada, United States of America during the time of Barack Obama, and many other countries that are considered as nuclear countries. They entrust that in the hands of the younger people. Some of these guys never had previous experience before. So, and Nigerian politicians, whenever they point at experience, is nothing more than corruption, corrupt practices, and ability to steal. Otherwise, if somebody say, I'm putting myself forward to run for the office of a president, if you run as a governor or as a minister, or you manage a company, talk to us on how you manage these things and how you navigate them away from penury, from pain, from problem, and bring them to the place of limelight. Most of these people that are of age do not have records at all. But because our Nigerian setting is, we think somebody is a politician because he has money, which might be a proceed of crime, or because he has been in certain positions of government. But these things do not count. So in essence, I'm saying, while experience is important, the most important element in leadership, irrespective of the country, is your ability to think, to be creative, to manage people, to manage resources, and the heart to be able to survive the pressure. That's what we need. And that can be found even in the hearts of young people.
Well, Olayinka, it was Plato in his Theory of State who submitted in his work, The Republic, that leadership is not by happenstance. It's deliberate. Deliberate in the sense that a leader must be a product of training. A leader must be a product of education. A leader must be one whose vision aligns with that of the state. That is to say, to aspire, you must have been within the political process.
Very well.
And if you look at the world as it is, people, young leaders like Sebastian Kurz, who is 32, of Austria, and then people like Emmanuel Macron, you realize that these ones have been politically integrated. They have been in the system.
Yes.
But you have these young ones who are saying, look, I want to be president, and they haven't been part of the political process. How do you think that they can, make it?
We must state it the way it is. Maybe I would say that the youth, generally, to an extent, we goofed and lacking behind. Like he said, there's no generational shift. The same people we have today were the same people from 70s. And they are the same people that are still in charge. In those 70s, where are the youths that were trained along with those people to this day? Now, we don't just wake up. I always canvass for grassroots politics. And I look at Macron. People are shouting, yeah, Macron became the president. He didn't just start. He didn't just come up to say he wanted to be a president. And for your information, in fact, they left the parties and they formed a new party. Macron won under a new political party because he's been in the system. He's been trained. He's been following the terrain and all that. But do we have that here? No. Rather, they are the ones being used, in quote, as thugs. They are the ones being used to hijack ballot boxes. And they tell them that they are the politicians, while they are the miscreants. And they give them, and none of us make attempt to even follow, from, back then, go through this training. No, the truth is, ask an average political parties in Nigeria today for just a one-page ideology. None. What is their ideology? They get there and they just blab, they come and say whatever, and in the end, you can't see anything on the table, no blueprint. And that is why we are here. Because they come in and they repeat the same thing, no ideology whatsoever. The youth, the ones that think, they are brilliant, they have vision, they know what it takes. It's not what we think sometimes.
Okay.
The office is beyond what we think sometimes. We think, oh no, I will get there, no, I will change everything. No, because the truth is, like you said, where is the training? If you become a lawyer today, you went through some training. You went to law school. You went to the university to law school and all that. You become a lawyer. Even in the course of when you become a lawyer, you are attached to a firm, a law firm, something. Then you go through some trainings. Then they now say, he's a good lawyer. Oh, he's good in this. He's specialized in this. But in politics, do we have that? So we don't just wake up to say we want to become president.
All right. Let me bring in Daniel Boila from Abuja here. Now, some persons have said that a lot of those who are contesting for president now can't even win governorship or local government election. But as far as their right, as guaranteed by the Constitution is concerned, that is allowed. But let us bring it back to the issue of the electorate. You were talking about questioning these people's pedigree and who they are and what they can do and all of that. Do you think the Nigerian electorate is sophisticated enough to ask these questions even beyond what the media is going to do, because these people are going to have direct engagement and campaign with the people? Are the electorate in Nigeria sophisticated enough to ask those questions as at when do you?
Well, for the records, these youngsters coming out for the post of president will not win this election. But they will learn. And it's good to ask a question now and then begin the process of preparing. By 4 years' time, they will be ready. But let me tell you something else. Politics is not like school where you go and you are trained. Politics is where you navigate whatever you learned before. So let me give you an example. If you have your discipline as a lawyer and you go into politics, you're bringing the discipline of law into politics. If you're a medical doctor and you go into politics, you're bringing in the discipline of medicine and science into politics. So for the people who think that somebody who indicates interest to us for office, whether president or governor, that he does not have experience because he was probably not part of the people that once campaigned, they lost, they were seen carrying placards and the rest, it's a wrong notion. It's a wrong idea. You may never have been registered in a political party at all. Donald Trump was never a member of a political party. He went into politics and became the president of the United States with all the baggages. And you have history replete. So that notion that because you have not been involved in a political party, they see you, okay, you went for councillorship, you fail, you House of Rep, you fail, senator, you fail, therefore you do not have experience. How do I put it? That theory is not feasible. Politics is about leadership. Your capacity to bring whatever experience you have acquired in life, it might even be in business. Maybe you are in industry or in technology. When you come into politics, you bring that knowledge and experience of technology. So you approach the country from the perspective of your discipline as a technocrat into politics. So that's what we need. Now, these young people who have indicated interest, I will never castigate them for whatever reason they have shown interest, even though I know they might not win. And for example, if you ask me, I have somebody I'm voting for, and is quite advanced in age. I am running for office as a senator. Now, let me tell you what it takes to be a president. When you become president, how to govern a nation. It is not hard and fast. You don't have to go to the moon and come back. The day you are sworn in as a president, you have advisors, you have security advisors, you have bureaucracy in the country. The president of Nigeria, when he became president for 6-7 months, he governed the nation without ministers. Why? Because the ministries and departments of government had their permanent secretary and directors. So there is a structure in the nation. So when you come in as a president, it's your capacity to harness these ideas and look at these books and make a quick judgment. That is what it takes. And that's why we emphasize that leadership is the key factor. 80% of our politicians in Nigeria do not have leadership qualities at all. Look at the National Assembly, for example. For 3 years, they held the country hostage. When they sit down, all they discuss is how to make money. Look at governors across Nigeria. Poor record. All you see are records of how they appropriate money, allegedly, through corrupt means. Look at ministers in the government of the Federation. Some of them cannot even perform to the degree of somebody who is probably in the ministry as a young graduate. So it is creativity, sense of judgment, integrity, and ability to manage people that is the key thing. And these things, you learn it from your discipline in life. So that when you come into politics, you bring it to bear. But if you don't have that discipline, then you have nothing to offer.
All right. Olada Olenka, you mentioned something earlier that the young people have themselves to blame because they haven't been part of the system, or a deliberate. Do you think it's a deliberate attempt by the older leadership? Because people like Audu Ogbe, where, came into governance. Audu Ogbe became a minister, I think, in his 30s or so. And then you had Gowon as well, who became the president of the country, and all that. You have, these are people as well who are old now, but became, involved in politics at a younger, age. But at the moment, some people are saying there is a deliberate attempt by the older leadership to suffocate the younger leadership. Do you agree with that school of thought?
Well, I'm going to take it on the 2 coins, two sides of the coins. One is the fact that I won't agree totally with the fact that, yes, it's a deliberate attempt by the older generations. Remember vividly, because I'm going to still repeat the issue of getting involved. When Fashola became the chief of staff of the former governor, Tinubu, there were other contestants when he was leaving. But because Fashola had worked closely with Tinubu, Tinubu has studied Fashola, and he came, when all of them were the primaries and people were talking and there was, no, how can you say Fashola? No. He says, see, I know all of them. We work together. We saw the result when Fashola became governor of Lagos State. I don't know if any other aspirant had become governor. I don't know what would have happened. Anyway, I know all that I saw during Fashola's regime. This is what we are talking about. The one about the you go to councillor, you fail. You go to chairman, you fail. You go to, it's still part of the training. Because you fail does not mean that you won't win tomorrow. But while you were there and you were failing, you are going step.
You learn.
You learn in the course of that. So now, saying that the elderly, no, we are the one that took the back seat. We were so much involved in making our money, and we go through the entrepreneurship thing and all that we talk about, and it's about, I just want to do my business. I just want to be fine. I'm not interested. Now, suddenly, we just wake up. We realize that, wow, we were laid back. We realize that, wow, we left our own rights, and it is time to now wake up and say, no, let's start with them. Now, thank God, we have the youths coming out to say presidency and different political, in fact, I'm seeing, banners and all the different political parties, youths coming out. Impressive. I'm glad to see that. But never too late anyway. It's good we are coming out, but I am saying maybe a bit late for us to come at this point, because it's not about our leaders. Like former President Obasanjo said, he said, these older people will not give it to you. You have to take it from them. So it is our duty to come and take from these people. They are not going to give it to us just like that. So it's not about them not giving us, but it's about us not taking it, okay, by ourselves, and to say, yes. Now, the other coin, because that was one side of the coin, to say, older people, but about us. I think I will still blame us for our actions. I speak with people. I hear people talk, even our own youth, and I'm like, why? Why are we here? Why are we, how did it get to this point? Yes, we are here. Everybody knows how we got here. How do we get out? Impressive. We are coming in now. Let us take charge. Let us go into the system. Let us take what we can take.
And begin the learning process.
Okay. Someday, we'll get it right. Like I said, I don't believe that one of the youth can win. If we all come together, Macron did it. He got it. If we can come together in one voice to say, we've been having trial and error, past government, we just had one. We can, if we want to do trial and error, why can't we start with the newer generation? Somehow, maybe in years, we'll get it right. Than continue in this terrain. That's my position.
Okay, Daniel Bwala, the one other concern amongst younger people and maybe Nigerians is the cost of forms and nomination forms. Because a lot of these young people, to a great extent, cannot cough out about 55 million or 50 million or 40 million or 10 million just to buy forms, because the campaigns, at the other hand, is quite expensive. Why does it cost so much to acquire forms, a nomination form for some of the presidential aspirants and even some of the political offices?
So in one breath, that's why, if you may have heard, over time I emphasize that not too young to run is a scam by lawmakers in order to buy into a narrative of youth support, but they do not actually intend to empower the youth to participate in government. That's why not too young to run is like a lame law without the teeth. And political parties are indicating by the sale of their forms that they clearly do not have the young people in their mind. Otherwise, the young people would either have to steal, or it will still have to be the son of that rich politician that will have the capacity to buy. However, all things work together for good. For everything that somebody does to you or against you, there is a way to go about it. And this is a way to go around it. If A wants to run for the office of the president, and suddenly he cannot afford 55 million, there is what is called community organizing. That is what is called movement for the people. So when you begin and you drop somebody like Showore, for example, he has the capacity to generate the money because he has built over time in his Sahara Reporters an image that is sellable. So if he comes on air and he says he's looking for 55 million, this is his account number, if you want to support, he will get more than 100 million. And some of these other young people can. So this is a way to go around it. And I will give you an example. In the United States of America, in the city of Bronx in New York, I mean a borough called Bronx in New York, a young lady, 28 years old girl by the name Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, Ocasio-Cortez, who was, before she won the primaries, Democratic primaries, she was working as a bartender. No experience of being in any political party, but she was a community organizer. With a budget of $100,000, she defeated an 11-time congressman whose budget was $1 million through community organizing. Have you not wondered that only in Africa you have these old people in government? The rest of the world, advanced countries of the world, have moved. They've shifted. They have transferred the baton to the generation to take it to the next level. Because the world now has gone through technology, through invention and innovation, which is only consistent and favorably disposed to the mind of young people. Africa is not ready. That is what they are doing. It's a deliberate attempt to stifle the younger generations because they have used most of them as talks. But not everybody is a talk. All the people that have indicated interest to run for the position of president, as we are seeing in Nigeria today, none of them has a record of being a talk or somebody that is a non-entity. So let us encourage it. You can raise the money, you can get the movement, and you can win election. Now, whether they will win in 2019, to be honest, I will agree with the other contributor in your studio. It may look a little bit late because you require a lot of time to build popularity across Nigeria and galvanize support and then raise the money. But I'm telling you this, what they are doing now is making a statement. In the next 4 years, the president of Nigeria will be somebody below the age of 50.
All right, Olayinka, let's talk about INEC's budget. More recently, the National Assembly members approved about 143 billion, as against the earlier 240-something billion naira. Good work by the National Assembly members, not so?
Very well. Well, it's a work on development. It's a good one because, like INEC chairman told us, that if he does not get the money, that he's afraid, election may go somehow. But, well, thank God that has been approved. And I think we expect that all machineries should be in place. We know it may not be enough, but let us start. Because we're not going to wait for 2019. There must be process. So let's start with whatever they have yet. But then it's not just about approving the budget. It's about releasing the money. Because you can approve budget when we know what happens. They approve budget, they will tell you, oh, we approved 100 and something billion, and the next thing, they are giving them 50 billion. So how do you expect them to work? And the next thing, what we hear is, oh, sorry, this election cannot hold as, scheduled, so we have to move. No. Yes, you have approved.
That would be a disaster.
We now appeal to the executive. We appeal to the appropriate authorities to then release this money so that work can go as expected, so that we can have an eat-free election by 2019.
Okay. All right. Daniel Bola, last before we let you go now, people are asking, we've often heard about affirmative action, female gender sensitivity, female involvement and all of that. All of this just for the president and all of that. How would you rate the performance and the inclusion and the aspiration from the female?
Unfortunately, all political parties have not accommodated the women. And I can tell you that for free, some women in Nigeria are better thinkers and managers than men. At least we have history. If you look at Okonjo-Iweala and what she has done to this country from when she was appointed as minister, it's a clear indication that women can play active role. They can even run as president. The only problem is that society develops with people and culture and everything. For example, if you look at America, as rich in democracy, as a frontline country in democracy, a woman has never been a president. In the last election, she came close to breaking the glass ceiling. But we don't know for whatever reason. She won the popular vote, Electorate, worked against her. So political parties should make room for them. What people often do is they look at women as we give them the scrub, the scrub that comes from the table. But the thing is that women have shown, even in Nigeria, they can be better managers, they can be better thinkers.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have to leave you here now. Daniel Bola, senatorial aspirant and a lawyer, thank you very much for talking to us from Abuja. We also have Olayinka Ola Daniels, a lawyer in the studio too. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Bye.